News at 1. You can, of course, keep up with all the latest developments on the BBC website, and the news continues here on BBC One, as now it's time to join our colleagues for the news where you are. From us all, bye-bye.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm Roger Johnson. Welcome to North West Today. Our headlines this Thursday lunchtime. After HS2 North is cancelled, the future of rail as the UK's first battery-powered train goes into service.
Pleased to meet you.
I'm Chris. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Could a grieving father's campaign to honour fallen emergency services workers be on the brink of success? And boxer Tommy Fury on why fighting internet celebrities is bringing the sport to new audiences. So yesterday we heard that HS2 to Manchester would not be part of our railway future, while today something which is now part of the present. The UK's first battery-powered train started operating on Merseyrail this morning. It's running between Liverpool Central and a brand new station at Headbolt Lane. It's hoped the technology could eventually be used right across the region, as our transport correspondent Judy Hobson explains.
This train looks and sounds like pretty much any other on Merseyrail, but look below the carriages and there's one difference: batteries. The UK hasn't used battery-powered trains before. On this service, the train's electric for part of the journey and then switches to the battery for about a mile.
These are much cleaner and greener, but of course these are publicly owned. We've bought these. It's not a train operating company that have bought these brand new trains, and they've been designed with the public because we own them, and we hope that others will follow where we've led.
This battery technology is a game changer because it can be used on any line. It means Merseyrail can now expand to places it previously thought was inaccessible. No overhead wires are needed, and that makes it cheaper.
Here the station is well beyond the electric network of Merseyrail, and the trains just switch onto their batteries to run onto it. It means that in the future Merseyrail can expand even further without having to worry about electrifying the railway. They've got a good 25 miles perhaps of battery power in the trains, so future expansion without the additional costs.
The launch of these new trains have coincided with the opening of a brand new station. In the area around Headbolt Lane, around 60% of households don't own a car. So what do passengers make of the service?
It just felt like you were still travelling on an electric train.
Completely seamless. I'm transferring between battery and between electric and vice versa.
I think it could be great for the city, and hopefully a lot more cities can follow suit once everything's up and running, I think.
The rail industry says it hopes battery-powered trains like this will soon be common across our whole network. Judy Hobson, BBC North West Today at Headbolt Lane.
Well, meanwhile, Northern leaders say that they want more details on how the money earmarked for HS2 will now be spent. Maybe it's electric trains. £36 billion will be invested to improve public transport and road schemes outside London. It's being welcomed by some local Conservative MPs, but rail experts say that train services probably won't improve.
It's not good news for people in the north, particularly for those who wanted to see more local services introduced and perhaps for leisure, because that's the growing market, but also for people who want to see more freight on rail, where you reduce the carbon impact by about 76% for an equivalent amount of freight. It's got to have the capacity to run those freight trains.
It's Tony Miles again. Now, 6 men have gone on trial this morning, facing charges in connection with the murder of 26-year-old Ashley Dale in Liverpool last year. The prosecution says she was the innocent victim of a violent feud between two groups. 5 men deny murder, conspiracy to murder and firearms offences. 1 man denies assisting an offender, Ashley Dale, who was 28. A campaign for medals to be awarded to the families of emergency services workers who are killed in the line of duty could be on the verge of success. Bryn Hughes is motivated by his daughter Nicola. She was one of 2 Greater Manchester police officers murdered in a gun and grenade attack in 2012. I went with Bryn earlier this week to meet the policing minister.
Nicola would have been 35 this year. I often think, what would she be like now? You know, there's that picture of her in a uniform, which is people use all the time, but it's really hard to imagine her as a young lady. As she, you know, what would she be doing? Would she be, you know, what rank would she be? What job would she be doing? And I think you're robbed of all that, aren't you?
For Bryn Hughes, his daughter Nicola is frozen in time, forever 23. A police officer murdered at work, responding to a bogus 999 call.
The rain stopped.
Bryn hasn't come to Manchester often in the 11 years since Nicola died.
Forgive me for looking at my watch, but it was 11 years ago today for the funeral.
Have you been back to the cathedral? A poignant date then on which to meet the policing minister and convince someone at the top of government about his campaign for a posthumous medal for emergency services staff who are killed at work.
Hello, Bryn.
Pleased to meet you.
I'm Chris. It's a pleasure to meet you.
So this is his chance to share his and Nicola's story.
Nicola and a colleague, Fiona, answered the bogus 999 call, and as he arrived at the front door, within seconds of arriving, a person who was wanted for 2 previous murders just opened fire, and he shot them 32 times in the space of 20 seconds. They didn't stand a chance.
What you're asking for is I think it's important. So I'll do everything I can to drive this forward, and I'm hoping we'll have something concrete to say in the very, very near future.
After meeting the minister, does Bryn think his campaign for a posthumous medal for all emergency services staff killed at work is any closer to success?
It's not as though he was giving me an excuse. It was not as though he was fobbing me off, if you like. It was actually encouraging to say, yeah, this is coming. This is there.
So it's a step in the right direction. But for Bryn and his campaign, the journey continues. And we'll let you know what happens. Now, every sport faces the challenge of attracting new audiences. For some boxers, the strategy seems to be fighting celebrities, not just any famous face, of course. They have to be able to reach a standard. And Tommy Fury, who's the brother of the world heavyweight champion Tyson, hopes that fighting the YouTube star KSI in Manchester next weekend will help him to reach new fans. He's been chatting this morning to Ian Haslam.
Manchester's Tommy Fury has won all 9 of his pro fights, and he's not about to lose that record.
Cannot wait, 9 days away. I'm in fantastic shape and yeah, ready to go live on the DAZN pay-per-view.
Having beaten YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul, he's now out to beat YouTuber turned boxer KSI.
They've come quite late to the game, and yet here they are fighting you.
You know, the only reason why these guys are, you know, able to do such massive shows and, you know, generate so much money is because they have followers from other things. KSI, I'm going to knock him out. Like, I'm not training for a points victory here. I'm training to see him on the floor and not get back up.
And is the plan for you to get through these YouTuber fights and then go back to what you would call proper professional fights, or many people would call that an aim for the titles?
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel after these fights, I'm going to be boxing. I'll box for a world title.
Tommy's recently featured in the hit Netflix documentary At Home with the Furies.
It's been received very well. I mean, it's been #1 for a long time, and I think it gives people a great insight to understand that we just live normal lives.
Dad John plays a big part in promoting the upcoming fight too.
It sold the event out in 2 hours. The event sold out in 2 hours, and that wasn't down to them idiots going back and forth across the room shouting insults.
Big brother Tyson has an exhibition bout coming up, and then the big one, the heavyweight clash with Alexander Usyk.
What do you think about the fight with Usyk that's now been confirmed?
Yeah, I think the Usyk fight, I think it's an easy fight for Tyson.
Easy?
Yeah, I do. I think everybody's under the impression that he's invincible and all that sort of stuff, but he's really not.
Ian Haslam, BBC North West Today.
Right, let's have a look at the weather. Here's Anna Church.
Good afternoon. So we do have this autumn warmth on the way gradually from tomorrow and into the weekend, but for now we're still a little bit unsettled, dominated by this area of low pressure and a trailing cold front, bringing the cloud and the rain we've got at the moment. So further outbreaks of rain, heavy at times as we go through this afternoon, drier across the Isle of Man, but still a blustery day with wind gusts around 35 to 40 miles per hour, particularly along our coasts. Highs of 17 degrees Celsius. Continuing to have some outbreaks of rain this evening. They will fizzle out for a time, but the front just pushes a little bit further north, so further rain is expected as we head towards sunrise. A very warm night tonight with temperatures around 15, 14 as a minimum temperature. But things are warming up gradually through Friday. Further outbreaks of rain, but perhaps not as wet as today. Some glimmers of sunshine possible here and there, and highs of 20 degrees.
Do take care if you're out and about then. Kay will update the weather forecast for us on North West tonight at 6:30. I hope you can join us. But in the meantime, from all the team, thanks for watching. Have a good afternoon.